Hey now, this is Rob with Buhler Flies for the Kern River Fly Shop. Today we're going to be tying the Lightning Caddis, a variation on the lightning bug with only a couple small changes, most notably a CDC collar or CDC hackle, and I'll be giving you a couple tips today to hopefully make that a little bit easier for your tying. Starting off with a 2457 hook, scud style and size 14. I'm using actually a Togen's 3X heavy scud hook, size 14 there. And we're using a 3/32 size bead, a tungsten bead. This one's tangerine, copper works equally well, basically the same application. And we're using a UTC or ultra thread in 70 denier in black. And we'll start off by applying that right behind the bead. And when I'm applying these beads, I'm inverting them when I put them on, so the larger side is up toward the eye of the hook, and it helps cover up the eye a little bit, and the tapered side, or the smaller side, is coming back toward the back of the fly, and it makes a little smoother or cleaner tie-off area when you're finishing off your fly, I feel. So we're going to start by applying, after we get our thread on, we're going to apply our body material. And the body material on the Lightning Caddis is the same as the lightning bug. We got a UTC ultra wire in black, small black, and then we've got a Flashabou. The original has a pearl Flashabou. I'm updating a little bit to what's called Opal Mirage Flashabou. It's got a little bit more bling, a little bit more flash in this modern style Flashabou, which I like. A little bit more attraction. And so we're taking those materials and wrapping those together to make our body. And we're going to take 2 or 3 strands of that Flashabou and put it with the wire and trim off the tips to make an even tie-in area for you. And this is the fly. I've been using this all summer long on a 2-fly dropper rig matched with a stonefly size, a golden stone size 12 to 14. And it's been fishing excellent on that dry dropper rig, and I expect it to fish well all through the fall too. So we're applying that material, couple wraps, tying it in up behind the bead here, and then we're going to wrap toward the back while keeping the materials up on top of the hook shank. And then one of the reasons why I like this UTC thread is if you spin it counterclockwise, it lays quite flat and flattens out and thins out, so you can wrap a nice smooth underbody. So when you're wrapping this Flashabou back forward, it creates it keeps the taper nice and smooth, and there's no bumps or lumps in it. So we're going all the way back to about halfway down the hook band there, and keeping that thread nice and flat. If it starts to rope up on you again, just do a couple spins counterclockwise, and that'll help flatten it back out again. We're going to wrap forward. You can really see right there how flat it is. Bring that all the way up to back behind the bead, and then we're going to wrap the Flashabou forward. We're going to separate the Flashabou from the wire at this point. Wrap only the Flashabou forward. Got that one kind of wrapped around there funky. So make sure that's all separate. We've got our 3 Flashabous here. We're going to wrap that at the base. Come around underneath. And the reason why we have 3 Flashabous here is to make it easier to wrap our body. We don't have to be so precise as if we only had one single strand of Flashabou. Bring that up all the way forward. And then tie that off right behind the bead. This fly will work equally well too on a nymph system, 2-fly nymph system, or a Euro nymphing system. And not only on the Kern too. This will fish great all over the Sierras. There's caddis in every moving water in the Sierras, so great fly all over the Sierras. A couple extra wraps just to make sure that Flashabou is secured in nicely. And then we're going to do our first wrap of wire is going to be right at the base of that Flashabou. Do a full wrap to secure that in, and that's going to really tighten in that flash boot material, so when we get a couple fish, it's not going to unravel on us. And we'll do evenly spaced wrapped as we come forward, maybe 5 or 6 of them, until we get to the thorax area. Then we'll tie off that wire at the thorax area. A couple thread wraps. And we'll keep tension on our thread here. And instead of using your scissors to cut through that wire, keep tension on your thread and just spin with tension on your wire, and that'll pop that wire right off for you, so you don't have to wear out your scissors. Now we're ready for our thorax, and we're using eye stub for our thorax. We're using a peacock eye stub. And we're going to apply that. We don't need a whole lot. Just apply a little bit to the thread. If you need more, you can add a little bit more. Start off with a little bit there and spin that tight onto your thread. And we'll wrap that around and create a nice little thorax here, nice buggy thorax. And at the same time, we're going to leave a small gap in between that eye stub and the bead for our wing or hackle application. A nice little thorax, add a little bit of flash, a little bit of legginess. And then we're gonna next we're gonna apply our CDC. The CDC I've been using lately is Trout Hunter CDC, and it comes in a premium CDC, so there's more usable feathers per bag than your average CDC and you'll find on the market. And most of these feathers come where they're a little bit large for wrapping in as a soft hackle. It goes a little bit larger than the size 14 fly. Well, I'll show you how we can work with that. We're going to start by grabbing the tip and sweeping those fibers back and creating a little tie-in area up here at the front. So that's going to be our tie-in area. We're going to use that to tie in. But we're going to trim off the very tip and just use a small piece of that for tying in. So we got just that little spot there for tying in. We're going to drop that right where we started stroking back the fibers, right where that kind of neck is, or the V is, in between the space in between the bead and the thorax. Come over with a wrap. As you see, as I come over, it starts bending that CDC material. And we got a little bit excess up here, but it's starting to fold over. You can grab that with the thread and tuck that into that V or into that gap. That's going to hold down all that extra fiber. It's going to give you a little bit more tension on your wing up there to hold your hackle in. We got 2 or 3 wraps, making sure that's nice and secure. And then we can hang our thread down. And we only need a couple wraps of this CDC in here to get a nice buggy, leggy effect on it. So we're going to start by wrapping that, and you don't need a lot of tension. You can use hackle pliers, but I usually end up applying too much tension with hackle pliers. Come around and sweep that front edge of fibers or hackle back as you wrap around, and that'll keep everything facing toward the back of the hook. Sweep all that back as you come around. And we're coming around for our second wrap here. You can see how everything's sweeping and orienting toward the back of the hook. We got 2 nice wraps in there. We're going to bring that thread around, come over. Another nice secure thread wrap. We're looking pretty good here. We'll do 3 just to make sure. Sweep that stuff back so we can keep those fibers coming back. And then we'll go in there with our scissors and just cut, if you can get in close, and just cut the stem. There we go. And we've got a nice little soft tackle wing here starting. And we'll do a couple more securing wraps on our thorax. And we're pretty much done. We're going to do a whip finish or half hitch. I'm going to do 3 quick half hitches because that's what I like to do. If you like to whip finish, then go ahead and whip finish. And we'll trim our excess. And you can fish it just like this and it'll fish fine. Those fibers are going a little bit long toward the back. If you want to tighten it up a little bit, pinch them off with your fingers, come back here and you can just preen off some of these longer strands back here. We've got a nice tight soft tackle caddis or lightning caddis. Again, this has been fishing really well on the Kern. Hopefully we'll have these up in the shop in a couple of weeks, and would love some feedback if you guys are watching these videos all the way through as we work on our presentation on this end. We would love some feedback on the content and have you guys give us a little feedback on the content and what you'd like to see and how much you'd enjoyed these videos so far. So thanks so much for watching this. Hopefully tie up some of these flies and get out on the river and catch some fish. Take care now.